Hello everyone, and a warm welcome to one of our Hackolade how-to videos. This is where we try to illustrate some of our how-to manuals with a short video explaining how things are done. To do that, today we're going to be looking at how you configure some of our custom properties, right? This is really easy, and it's something that you will want to do if you have a larger implementation of Hackolade or have a complex data model and where you want to ensure some of the documentation requirements for your data models. So how we're going to do that? We're actually going to do that by configuring a number of very simple JSON documents, right? And I'll obviously have to do that for a specific data model and a specific plugin of a data model. So I'm going to be working here today with a JSON data model. I've got a sample JSON model, JSON data model right here. A very simple data model with only one test document in here, and I'm going to try and configure these things over here, right? It's the properties pane of my data model. Now, how am I going to do this? Well, the first thing that I need to do is actually I need to set up the system in a certain way for this. Specifically, Hackolade, when it's installed on the different platforms, Windows, Linux, or OS X, has a particular installation directory, and in that installation directory, I will need to have the particular configuration files installed. That's not the case by default. If I look at this directory right now, right, this is the installation directory of Hackolade options JSON on my Mac, then you see that this directory is currently quite empty. There's only one file there, naming convention options, and that's not what I need in order to configure these custom properties. So the first thing that I need to do here is, from my Hackolade Studio, I need to go into my Help menu item and then go into the Plugin Manager. And the Plugin Manager is going to show me my plugins, also the JSON plugin here, and it's going to actually show me here that there's a link that I can click where I can show the customization directory for this plugin, right? This is what I want to click right now. When you do that, when you click this link, then what happens is you see that in the directory that I had open over here, it has added a subdirectory, custom properties, with a number of files in there that I can use to configure my custom properties, right? And this is what I needed. I needed to have this starting point in order to configure the system the way I want. You will see that over here there's a number of levels that I can configure, right? And I'm actually going to start with the entity level, right? The entity level configuration is where I'm going to start the customization. I'm going to open up this JSON file. Now what you see here in this JSON file is first about 130 lines that I have that are commented out, right, and that have a number of sample configurations for different property types, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to edit it at this location over here. Obviously, I've prepared this, right, and I'm going to open up a pre-prepared configuration, right? So I'll start with this one here, right? This one here is actually a configuration of a select box, right, where I'm going to select for a hypothetical insurance company what type of domain is going to be applicable for a particular entity. So I'm copying this, right? I'm going back to my entity level config document here, and I'm going to save it right there in this location. Now I save this document, this JSON document, and then I'm going to switch back to my Hackolade Studio, right? And I'm going to have to bounce this. I'm going to have to restart the Hackolade Studio. Let me do that right now. So I've actually done that now, and I've saved you the trouble of having to watch me bounce my Hackolade installation. But when I now go into my test document over here, I see that there is a plugin, right? A drop-down that allows me to select, the subject area of my particular entity that I'm watching right now. I can actually go back to my document over here and add something else, right? I can add another property to the mix here, right? So I'm going to select these lines and I'm going to add those to my document here, right? Save that, and again, I will have to go back to my Hackolade installation, right? Here we go, and I will have to bounce it. But when I have done that, when I have actually done the restart, then you will see that the test document over here not only has this selection box, but also has an indicator right there. So that was super easy. I've been able to configure this very, very easily using a very, very simple edit in the JSON document. Great. Now, the next thing that I'd like to do is to show you how you can actually go one step further and not just customize the properties of the entity, which we've done here, right? But also make some customizations to how you edit the attributes of an entity. So let's say that I add an attribute here, which is going to be, I don't know, some kind of a test attribute, right? Now, I would like to edit the properties of this test attribute in a customized way. How am I going to do that? Well, I need to go back to my Visual Studio and I'm going to edit a particular JSON document that is related to a field level configuration of the Properties Pane, right? So what you see here is another JSON document, and this JSON document has a same structure, lots of mock-up information here, but here at the bottom there's a couple of really good parts that we need to edit in order to customize the field level properties. Now I'm going to uncomment this, right? And I'm going to add a new piece to this where I can actually say, okay, these properties, these attributes of my data model are going to be very specific and are going to be having to have some additional information with regards to GDPR classification and source system information, right? So these two properties are going to have to be added at the attribute level. So now I've added this, right? And again, same thing that I need to do. I need to go back to my Hackolade Studio. I need to go and bounce this. And now when I go and look at the properties of the entity, I see these customizations over here. But at the field level, I also now have these customizations available. GDPR classification and source system name is now available there. So again, this is the second level of customization that you can do here by editing these JSON documents. Now, the last thing that I'd like to show you is how you can actually take it to a third level, which is where you actually add some properties or specific properties pane actually, not at the entity level, right, which we've got still right here, right there with the drop down over here, nor at the property level, right, we've got that right here, but we're actually going to do it at the model level. Right? So in order to do that, I'm going to go into my Visual Studio and I'm going to open up a model level configuration, right? So that's it's a file that you find in the model level directory, right? Model level configuration, it's already open. And what I need to do is I need to add a section over here, right? It's the same structure as the previous files, right? A bunch of commented information at the top, and at the bottom here, I'm going to be adding my specific configuration here. Now I've got that all prepared right there. I'm copying this here, right, which is going to add a metadata tab, right, with a number of properties, approved purpose, archiving checkbox, and a frequency checkbox that I'm going to be adding to the mix here, right? So how do I do that? I copy that and I actually go in over here, paste that over there, make sure that it's properly structured, seems like it. Save it, and again, now all I have to do is go back into Hackolade and bounce the application. Once we have done that, we now see, yes, we've got the custom property at the document level, at the property level, but also at the model level, right there. Right, here's where I can add my approved purpose, the archiving, the frequency. I can edit all of these things as you would want. Great. With that, I think we've given you a little bit of an overview of how custom properties can be configured in Hackolade Studio. I hope this was useful. If you have any more questions, please reach out, and I look forward to speaking to you someday soon. Have a wonderful day. Cheers.